So really excited by the appointment of our new head of sport, and that's Mr. Billy Wagner. He's been with the group for a while in a number of other positions, but someone who's deeply passionate about who we are, deeply passionate about what we do, and somebody who's deeply passionate about sport, been heavily involved in a number of teams over the course of the last few years. And so very excited to have him step into this role, because I think that he's going to take the sport at KTG to a whole new level.
Yeah, I think it's a huge accomplishment for me. I'm starting out as in facilities a few years back, and I remember Clifford Ainley asked me, where do you want to be in 5 years' time? And I don't think I would have said to him that I'll be group head of sports after 5 years. But yes, very passionate. I'm looking forward to the appointment. I think it's going to be really nice, and we've got a lot of plans in place to make it look good, and our group be better in sport.
So yeah, I think that there was a lot of work that was done on the strategy, the sports strategy. It was introduced in 2021. It was introduced to parents through a detailed Lekgotla, and if they haven't had a chance to go and look at that, I would strongly suggest they do. It sits on our website. And what that strategy has done is outlined for us real detail around how we would support sport in our schools, what we would prioritize, and what it is that we would focus on as a group, not only from the point of view of what we would play, but also from the point of view of the infrastructure that we would develop. And I think it's important just to go through each of those tiers so that there is an understanding of what it is that sits in that strategy. And so what the strategy does really well is it takes our sports and divides our sports into 3 tiers. Those 3 tiers, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And it focuses on the investment as well as the level of focus that the group will be doing. In a tier 1 sport, for example, the investment in infrastructure is there. There's a group of professionals that are a part of the coaching staff, and it is a pathway to excellence and also there to address our diversity. A tier 2 sport is a sport which is supported through the provision of infrastructure and basic coaching, while a tier 3 sport is sports that we will provide as a school and as a group, but there's basic sport, and the onus sits with parents from the point of view of coaching and development. So an example of a tier 1 sport is boys and girls hockey, boys and girls soccer, girls netball, rugby sevens for boys, as well as boys and girls basketball. And the focus on investment here is the development of facilities that support each of those sports. It could be a multi-purpose surfaces, it could be new basketball courts, and then a real utilization of our current facilities, in particular the new indoor sports center. A tier 2 sport, for example, is boys and girls swimming, including water polo, cricket, as well as tennis. And here, this is the upkeep of the current facilities that we have, improving our current facilities, and then making sure that we partner with groups that will provide real development. So, for example, development with Tennis South Africa. And then an example of a tier 3 sport would be equestrian, athletics, golf, and esports. And here the group won't be investing in any new facilities, and we will also look for real partnerships with outside agencies. So, for example, the current partnership that we have with the Kyalami Country Club. Well, I think sport is a real opportunity for us. I think that our facilities are phenomenal. They are absolutely world-class. And we've got some fantastic students across all of our schools. And we should be creating as many opportunities as possible for them to get involved in sport and to support them as best we can. We can't be everything for everybody, but we can be very clear about who we are and what we do and what we support.
So I think for Kyalami Prep, it's important, first of all, to expose the children to as many sports as possible. So when they get to the college, they have a clear understanding of areas where they've tried in, where they've excelled in, and which they would prefer to pursue in the high school. Because I think the high school, the timetable is very, very tight, and the opportunities to expand the range of sports is very limited. So it's an ideal time to establish that at prep school level. I think it's also important that we feed on from what we do in the prep school supports what they're doing in the college going forward. So I think, for example, softball is one of those sports that's not followed in the high school, which we've now replaced with girls soccer. So it's actually a very nice fit, because obviously we can't have girls soccer and boys soccer at the same time. But by getting rid of the softball, it's given us an opportunity to tie in with other schools and to have a proper soccer league going. So, and girls soccer has taken off phenomenally well. I think in the beginning we were hopeful that we might have one junior team and one senior team, but in fact we're now able to field a team in every single age group for the girls. So it's been a phenomenal success. By dropping softball, we've been able to incorporate more children actively involved, moving around in a sports program. So it's been a very big success for us. Yeah, but one of the limitations of basketball is that a lot of the bigger schools are dividing their cricket season into a choice of cricket season and basketball. Now, if we did that, we're not going to field enough cricket sides. So we're going to have to do something uniquely different to offer a few games outside the cricket season. It can be done. I think there's an opportunity in the end of the second term where we have an extended, now that we don't take part in the athletic season anymore, we have a bigger focus on hockey, and we bring in the specialist coaches from the college to advance their skills and to enhance their skills. That may be an opportunity to, and during that time, to have a couple of basketball fixtures and a bit of training. What we've done with our teachers have played more of a support role in terms of registration, helping with possibly the discipline, but we've used specialist coaches where possible to advance the skills base. So these are qualified individuals with years of experience, giving our children the best possible training advantages because of their experience. And it's worked very, very well for us. Pretty well. I think Billy or Mr. Wagner has got a passion for sport. He wants it to improve. I think there are areas where there is room for improvement. And I think certainly on more involvement, greater involvement, possibly upping our competition a little bit. Although we're a small school, we do punch above our weight, but you always need to have those opportunities to show what can be done. And so you'll have those games where you will win, but there's those opportunities that you're going to possibly, it's going to be a challenge to beat a bigger school, but there's lots of learning opportunities in that. And I think we learn from mistakes, learning from strategies that we could employ different strategies going forward. So there's always an opportunity for growth by entering into a strong league. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
And I think the biggest challenge we've got at this stage is space at Kyalami. We don't have plenty space at Kyalami, and I think the other thing is I know it's in the campus development plan where we've got the multi-surface that we want to put up at the top there, and I think part of the infrastructure upgrade, which would give you the opportunity to have hockey field as well as the basketball courts and the netball courts up there, that will up the whole system. Yeah. But I think overall Kyalami has always been punching above their weight. They are a good sports school and they're always up for new challenges. So I think it's, to put the strategy in place in Kyalami won't be that difficult. We maybe struggle at other campuses, but yeah, I think we're quite on where we should be.
And we've been making small adjustments to so as we resurface the tennis courts, we've got the facility markings for a netball court, and we've now included basketball markings on there as well. So once we're done with the court number 2, which will hopefully by the end of next year, we'll have 2 courts available once we get the poles in place. So we're looking at making it possible for this to happen in the near future.
Mr. Hala, overall, are you happy with parent attendance at matches and fixtures?
Yeah, I think what we see is from the junior level, right at the beginning, what we've done that's to improve our sport in our school. We've started more of a school sports-based program in grade 2, a physical education program where the kids get exposure to football skills, to cricket skills, to all the different swimming skills. So by the time they enter the under 9 official age group, they've been exposed to these sports. In the past, it was more just a movement exercise, sort of. Now it's about getting down to the ball, getting behind the ball, getting your body behind in the right position. So those early skills are being developed earlier on, and we're seeing the benefit of that coming through as well. So, but in terms of parents, I think in the lower age groups, you'll see very big attendance from the juniors. And as it gets further on down the line, the parent support wanes a bit. But in saying that, yesterday, the cricket match we were watching on 11s play, I think we had 5 dads coming to watch, which was good. Very supportive and some keen interest. And that's good to see. Look, that was an exceptional year. And I think the goodness that's come out of that is that it gives our children the self-belief that this can be done. It's taken us 25 years, but now children are looking at this and saying, wow, we can be there, we can do this. So that aspiration to be better is now entrenched, and that's good. And I think what we need to keep being mindful of that we can't necessarily win every game, although we go out to try and win every game. But if our skill set's improving, our positional play is improving, and our understanding of the game is growing, then we're making a real difference.
Have a structure within the school which comprises of a head of sport, and we have 4 full-time coaches that coach our children in the mornings. They learn physical education skills, which they use for their sport in the afternoon. Those coaches also coach our sporting program in the afternoon, and they also are joined by a group of specialist coaches who deal with the things that we don't have enough expertise in, or for which we think we need additional expertise. So we have, for example, in rugby season, we have box smart coaches joining the team to deal with our rugby boys. We have specialist swimming coaches who come in the afternoon also. So wherever we don't have in-house expertise, we bolster that with additional support in the afternoons. I think we are very competitive in all the things that we participate in. And of course, we have years in which we are stronger in various things, and years in which that changes. But I suppose our real strength is in our equestrian team. We are the South African school champions for the last 2 or 3 years running. I think that the national trophy has been handed out 7 or 8 times, and I think we've won it 5 of those 7 or 8 times. So Bolu Prep really has a very strong equestrian team, and we build on that every year. And we have wonderful expertise to support the children in that too. But yeah, we do well in other things too. Our cricket teams are doing very well this year. We've got a number of teams that have not been beaten in league matches this season. Yeah, we have strength in a number of those areas.
The service that we've planned and strategized is a very good plan for the schools, because obviously that will develop a lot of other sport in the school as well. And I think for our, for possibly all the guys that are competing with us, which already have these in place, that's a big thing that we need to look at as well.
I think we do get good support from parents at fixtures, and especially when we have tours, the parents go with the children on tour, and enjoy the whole experience of that with the children. But yeah, we would love to have more and more parental support at school. It can be difficult for parents, they work in a weekday afternoon, and most of our sport is played on weekday afternoons. We have the occasional festival, which is, a couple or 3 times a term, where there is a Saturday fixture, and we do get very good attendance at those. Physical activity is essential. It's key to future health, and that's why it's important that our children are active, and that they are playing sport at the best level that they can. It's also good for all kinds of team building, and for learning skills that are involved in dealing with other people in competitive situations. So there are lots of important things, but of course it's not more important than other parts of children's development. It's an essential component, but it's just a component. There are other equally important components too, and we develop the whole child rather than just one aspect.
I think it's a really good thing that they finally have a group head of sport who will bring together the sports strategies that are currently being used in the prep and at the college. I think for the purposes of our pupils in the prep who are looking to move through to the college, it's good to have one person who's communicating with the parents at the preps and the colleges, so that we know what the concerns are at the preps, what kind of things they're looking for at the colleges, but also so that there is alignment in expectation. Our schools are competing against monastic schools, against boys' schools and girls' schools, who have sometimes up to 5 times the enrollment numbers that we have. And yet we are still fielding teams against those schools and competing against those schools, which tells you that the level of sport, in terms of the numbers that we have available for sport, particularly for those sports that rely on numbers, such as rugby, the level of sport is that much higher in a school where you're having to rely on fewer pupils to make up those teams. In terms of facilities at the school, we are blessed. We've long had excellent facilities. But again, the prep school parents don't necessarily know of the facilities at the college. And what I'm hoping Billy will be able to do with this head of sport position is to bring feet off the prep campuses onto the college campus, so that there will be first-hand knowledge of what's actually available and on offer at the college. Run your prep school tournaments at the Bolu College premises, so that those younger parents or parents of younger children will have an opportunity to see what the college has to offer. But also get the teams at the college involved. I mean, our hockey team has got a long history of helping and assisting with the coaching of our prep school kids. And when they see those hockey players becoming SA players, and they were going, well, he was my coach when he was in grade 11 already, or in grade 12, that's a wonderful thing to have. And I think that pulls kids through from our preps into our college. And that's really what we want. We want them to remain Kyalami Schools Group pupils from the first minute that we start working with them, right up until their valediction in grade 12. And I think sport is a huge contributor in that. If you have coaches that are coaching at a high school level and at a prep level, kids love their coaches. They go to where their coaches are. So it's important to have that thread running through from the college to the prep in terms of coaching staff, in terms of facilities. And I'm hoping that that's what you will be able to achieve. I've seen Billy achieve that with our facilities when he was running them. All of a sudden, it wasn't just 5 schools. It was one group with 5 campuses. And things were being used much more efficiently. And the same thing can happen with the sports program.
I'm extremely excited about the college. I think last year already it started in a way with the rugby. Now hockey, like Mrs. Miko has said, our hockey is punching way above their weight. I think in many sports disciplines, we punch way above our weight. And we are in, I think that's part of my whole job description, is to align the campuses and to make sure that we get our primary school kids into our high school where they should be and not go to other schools. So that is the plan, that is the main plan, and then we'll see where we go from there.
Basketball has only recently been introduced at the college. The boys are only in their 2nd season. The girls only started this year. But our prep schools are not playing basketball. So we need to get those kids playing basketball earlier, because we will be much more competitive if we can have kids that have got experience once they reach us and they start in grade 8 basketball, not as newcomers to the game, but they've actually been playing in prep. The girls' soccer is another excellent example. Girls' soccer was never offered at the preps until 2 years ago. And now again, it has exploded. It's taken off. And that's going to make our girls' soccer that much stronger, because the girls who are coming through are not new to the game. It means that at an advanced level, when you're getting into grade 10, 11, and 12, and you're looking at your first team, skills are already entrenched. And what you really are then starting to do is raise the level of those games, where your girls are thinking tactically rather than just thinking in terms of their skill.
The strategy was implemented, but it was never communicated well to our parents. And that's why, and that's the main reason for this as well. And we have some exciting plans with basketball in the future coming on, and we'll get there in time. But we already started planning and working on getting the schools aligned. I think the most important now is to align the schools and to inform parents so they know exactly what our plans are and what our strategy are with regards to sport.